So let's talk about orchard ladders. That's a 3-legged aluminum, usually around a 10-foot, 12-foot orchard ladder. They're very expensive in the stores. To buy them retail, they're $300 to $400 each. Well, we had a cherry orchard, about 15 acres of cherries, at 3,000 trees, and we pulled them out. It just was not a profitable endeavor, a lot of work. After about 10 months, I realized I had 40 or more orchard ladders leaning against the wall. Wasn't really sure at the time what they were worth, especially in the Yakima Valley, where it's very agricultural. And so there may be 100,000 orchard ladders in the Yakima Valley. So the law of supply and demand, they wouldn't really be worth a whole lot there. And so I posted an ad, and the first person that came to buy 2 ladders was a guy from Seattle. He drove 150 miles to buy 2 ladders. And I asked him, I said, don't mind me asking, what are you going to do with these ladders? He said, well, I have a tree trimming service. I'm in the tree business. And so these are the best ladders for that. Okay, yeah, I understand that. Great. Well, I paid attention. You have to pay attention to what people say. The next person that came to get ladders, or one of the next people, drove all the way from Goldendale, Washington. Another long trip. And he too, I think, was involved somewhat, somehow in the landscaping or lawn business. And so I begin to realize, over in the Seattle market, the Seattle-Tacoma market, there are thousands of landscapers. And so I started raising the price on the ladders. I got all the way up to $160 a piece. Still a great value. Still half price of buying them new. And so when I would make a post with a ladder, I'd get 25 people reaching out asking if they could buy that ladder. Primarily, I'm going to say 90% of them were landscapers. And some of them, again, willing to drive just 2-hour drives to buy a ladder. And so it wasn't too long, my ladders were gone. All 40 of them, sold them. And I sold the majority of them to landscapers over on the west side, Seattle-Tacoma area. And so, of course, even though we had bought the farm, I wasn't putting money out for the ladders, so that really looked great. So then I thought, wow, the demand is so high for this. I wonder if I could find a source for ladders. I started researching Facebook Marketplace, and I would pick up a ladder here, that ladder there. But that was a little bit extra work, just to go get one ladder. Even though I could make $100 on a ladder, I'd pick them up for $60 or so. And then I came across an ad where somebody was advertising a bunch of ladders. I reached out to find out it was a young lady who was advertising them for her dad, who apparently had lots of ladders, and I didn't have any idea how many ladders. And I said, well, can you ask your dad if I bought them, say, 10 at a time, would he give me a break on the price? She did, and he did, and I think I was buying them maybe for $60 a piece. Well, then I went down to pick them up. He had about 5,000 ladders. And so then I started buying them 20 at a time. I would take a flatbed trailer down, I would double stack them, and I'd get 20 ladders on that trailer, and he'd sell them to me for $50. And if any of them was damaged when we were going through the pile, well, I could repair them with a drill and some rivets, and so he would give me another $10 off. So anyway, I just discovered a market you have to pay attention to supply and demand. In the Yakima Valley, 150 miles away, the supply is enormous. Over on the west side, where all the landscapers were working, the supply is very low, so the price is very high. And so this is something that you always have to pay attention to in marketing. So there you have it. Orchard ladders. Very profitable. High demand. Great opportunity. And this is how real business works.